Welcome back to the Hawkeye Garage, where we are in part 2 of another GX470 fog light mod. Last video you will have seen where we took these old tired stock fog lights and cleaned them up and made them look shiny, new, awesome, thanks to the Cerakote headlight restoration kit. And this week we have Nilights again in with another set, or same set, but a duplicate set of their smaller fog lights, the same lights that we put as ditch lights on the 3rd gen 4Runner a while ago. So we are going to open these up. We are going to slap them inside those fog light housings, and we are going to have one heck of a nice looking fog light upgrade on the 470. So stay tuned. First off, let's go ahead and open these up. This nice little box. You know, I've unboxed these in the last video as well. Nice packaging, nice foam in there. Usually there's a whole bunch of hardware that they come with, stainless steel bolts and Allen wrenches and stuff, but of course I've already got those out because I've been working on this. Some nice, essentially 2-inch by 3-inch lights, got a little foot on the bottom that we're going to mount inside that fog light housing. Dual LED, really easy, positive and negative hookup. We're gonna wire these directly to the factory fog light wiring. Now, the last video you'll have seen that I have these housings taken apart. There's lots and lots of videos on how to do this with these fog lights and other headlights. What I did was I put these in, I stripped them down. There's no backing on here. There's no bulb or anything in there. Put the whole housing in my oven. Yep, my just regular oven. Before I did the Cerakote. At 200 degrees for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, I suppose. And I just pulled them apart by hand. There's little tabs on the corners that you may have to pry off. If you have like a plastic trim tool or putty knife, I would suggest doing that. I wouldn't use a screwdriver or something. The glue is a little bit tough, but the lower the temperature you can do it, the less tools that you can use while doing it, the best, I guess. It seems daunting. Watch some few videos. It's really not that difficult. And we will probably heat these up a little bit and slap them back together. I'm not super worried about how tightly they get sealed, and I'll show you why I'm not that worried once we dig into this a little bit more. First, we need to disassemble the inside of this. This is technically, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I do want to, so I can set this light a little bit further back in there. After we have you get the plug off the back and the bulb and everything out, you're just gonna basically unscrew this screw for quite a while. It's an adjustment screw, and then it fell out because on the other two sides, I don't know if we can get this to focus, there's these little 2 ball sockets, and I just went in there with a screwdriver before and kind of popped them off so that only that one screw was holding into place. And now we have a nice empty housing that we can run our wire through the back, and we can set our light in. I'm going to put it basically all the way back in there where this would have sat originally, and then we're going to have our lens on the front, and we're going to have a very stock looking but much brighter, much more effective fog light. Okay, so I ended up mounting them just a little bit further forward. You can see there's this lip right in here, and I mounted it so that the mounting bracket is just, the front of that mounting bracket is just even with that lip. Wow, it's kind of hard to get in there and show you guys that. And to drill my hole, if you look on the bottom, starting from this edge is about 4 inches over. That's what this gap is on the inside. So I put a mark for the 2 inches, and then I basically put the bracket in there and drilled the hole. Maybe start out with a small hole, and then you can set your bracket in there and you can kind of drill the hole a little bit further to side or whatever if you need to. But I've got my hole in there. It's time to mount the light. All right, we've got it mounted in there. It already looks awesome. We got stainless hardware holding the bracket to the light, and then there's a stainless bolt and hardware that goes through the bottom. It's a lock nut and a washer there. Hopefully that bolt's not too long where it's going to interfere with any of the bumper plastic, but I can always get a shorter bolt or cut that down if I need to. And it is held in place on that bracket by some lips, so you don't need to put a wrench in there. You just kind of hold the light in there by hand and crank that down good and snug. Now you are gonna miss, if you wanted to, you could install it like this, wire it up, and check your beam pattern. I've kind of put it in there just kind of a neutral, straight ahead, level beam pattern. They are fog lights, so they're already mounted down below. Not that big a deal. Some guys leave them open like this, which looks cool. Some people paint the inside of these housings black. Some people do the lenses and with a yellow film. I'm just gonna put them together with the chrome, with the clear lens, just to see, get an idea of what it looks like. I like how I mounted it out a little bit so that once we get that lens on there, you'll still be able to kind of see the light peeking out, so it doesn't look completely stock. It looks like you got a little something going on in there. So now it's time to just tear into the other side, get those done, and install them on the GX. Well, I've got them put back together. They look really, really good, I think, with the light in there. I ended up putting everything back in my oven at 180 degrees and just smushed it all together. I didn't add any extra glue or anything because I've gone ahead and left the cap off of the back because I have to run the wires through. You could go crazy and glue the front back on and seal everything up. I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that if there's any moisture that gets in here, having it open on the back will just let it evaporate naturally. I may have to take them out later and change that. Later on, I may paint the inside of this housing. I may tint some of it yellow. I don't know. We're gonna put them in there and see how they look. I've gone ahead and put a couple spade connectors on the wires coming out of the lights. Red is positive, black is negative, and I've used a couple wire taps on my factory fog light wiring that I had done previously. How you do it on your own vehicle really is going to be up to you. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and every vehicle is a little bit different. I will go ahead and say on the GX470, the green wire on the fog lights is positive, so red to green, and that's how you're going to hook them up. I've got one in there already, and I think it looks really good. We're going to install this other one, and then we're going to go take it out and see what they look like at night. So here's just the fog lights by themselves. I gotta admit, they are a lot brighter in those housings than I thought that they would be. The road ahead of me goes up, it's uphill a little bit, so they are pointed a little bit higher, and I could probably spread the beam out. I can still adjust them if I just pop the whole housing out of the bumper. It's one bolt and a couple wires, and then I can move them. I can stick my fingers in from the back and move them around. That's not too big of a deal. Let's hop out and take a look from the front. Man, they look really good in person. It's just a really nice white singular light that's coming through those housings. It looks really, really, really good. I wish you guys could see it here in person. I'm super happy with how that turned out. And again, the beam pattern, I'll probably go back and adjust the beam pattern, but they're incredibly bright. I'm surprised on that, how bright they are in those housings versus how they were by themselves as ditch lights in the 4Runner. We got no lights out here in the country, but yeah, I need to go in and point those down a little bit, point them out a little bit, and I'll have a really nice spread of light from those Nilights mounted in those factory GX fog light housings. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. I did have to trim the bottom of that bolt underneath the fog light housing so that it would fit in the bumper, but that's pretty simple to do. Down in the description below, I'm going to link the lights. Shout out to Nilight for supplying those lights, and they are the same lights that I put on my 3rd gen 4Runner as ditch lights up on top of the hood on the cowl using their universal mounting brackets. I will link that video. You'll also find links to my Instagram and my Facebook where I post a lot more stuff than just this a lot more regularly, so be sure to check that out. Comments, questions down below, detailed questions you want to hit me up through email, feel free, hawkeyeskunkworks@gmail.com. And if you're new to the channel, of course, subscribe, like, and turn those notifications on. So until the next video drops, thank you for watching, take care, goodbye.